Hello, welcome. Sorry, folks. I'm reading something here that YouTube has put up. Says new managing moderators can support your channel in even more ways. Introducing managing moderators. These users have the same capabilities as standard moderators, but in addition, they can manage blocked words and change chat modes in live. Alrighty, that's pretty good to know, just in case I have a managing moderator then. Well, what just happened? Hey, y'all there? Hey guys, sorry, I hit the wrong button. I hit learn more. Hey, J. Will Banks, yay, you're here. I am live. And folks, please bear with me. I was actually expecting to be in here 5 minutes to do all of this setup, but I didn't make it. I got into a fight with a bottle. I was trying to open up my sparkling apple juice bottle, and well, me and that bottle kind of got into a fight. The paper that's wrapped around the cap would not peel off, and it took me forever. So how's everybody doing tonight? I hope you guys are doing good. I'm doing pretty good. And as you all probably could tell by the title, this is going to be about an update on my past videos and podcasts I have done in the past. So I'm just waiting to see if anybody else joins in on the live. But before I get started, before I came in here into my room to do this video, did y'all see where Afghanistan had an earthquake? And apparently, what I'm looking at right here says 5 people have died, and it was a 6.5 magnitude earthquake. And it went from, it was felt, the tremors were felt from Pakistan all the way to India. There's earthquakes happening all over, but we'll get into that. Speaking of earthquakes, I need to go here to this one book. Because I want to make sure I've got it right. Alrighty. So I guess I've done killed too much time already. I guess I'll go ahead and get started. Let me get comfortable here. So, an update on my past videos and podcasts I've done. The previous one was called A Shaken and God is Tired of the Hate. That was, I think, late January. That was my last video. And I told you guys that it was going to be like watching a movie where the people inside the movie, and I used this for an example, it was going to be like a force shield come over people that would stop everybody in their tracks. And when they stopped in their tracks, they was going to look up and see what was going on. Well, look at the Chinese spy balloon that was flying over. And then look at the earthquake that happened in Turkey and Syria. And was that part of the shaking I was talking about the spy balloon and the earthquake over Turkey and Syria was at the earthquake that I was talking about. And there's going to be many more to come. We're just in that time frame, and people are not waking up to what is actually happening. Everybody's continuing in their own ways, their evil ways. They're still in their tradition ways of things the way they were taught, but they won't pull away from those tradition ways. And, excuse me, folks, pollen's bad in this area. But you remember, even Jesus, God, pulled away from people that was stuck in their tradition ways. He said, you believe the tradition ways, but won't listen to me when I'm trying to pull you out. And we are in that time where we've got to learn to listen to God. And there's supposed to be more people in a calling that God is calling people into. The tables, I believe, have already turned, and it's just a matter of days for all those that God has called to step up to the plate and start walking straight into their calling, because this is the shaking going on now that we're seeing with the earthquake in Afghanistan, just having one a few hours ago. This is that shaking. A lot more stuff is going to be shook, and we're and probably feel the shaking inside our bodies. We're going to experience supernatural events that we have never, ever thought of. We read about it in the Bible. We've heard about it when we were children in churches, but we're actually going to experience it. We're going to know what it's like. We're going to see it. We're going to feel it. We're going to be changed inside and out. The sick will be healed. Doctors are going to be scratching their heads trying to figure out how in the world did you go from these numbers that we are reading down to zero. How in the world are you healed of all of this? We said you don't have much longer, but now you can live as long as you want. You don't have to take these medicines that we're giving you because your body has been healed, and we don't understand. We never seen nothing like this. This goes beyond science. Why? Because of God did it. Jesus said, I bore your sins into my body when I died on the cross, and you are healed by my wounds. There are cures. We have to keep believing and rebuking the sickness that the doctors tell us. Whew, that's a lot coming on right there. And if you're new here, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy what is about to happen, because I'm telling you, we are in a shaking for our life. We are in the signs, miracles, and wonders. Remember my video in October, on October the 1st, I did with a beam of light that was coming down the side of my wall. That was the Holy Ghost right there. That was going into the light. That's when all the signs, miracles, and wonders are going to be taking place. And I said, if you did not get into the light right then, don't worry, you will come into the light as the days and weeks and months continue and the years. And it's here. We will see it. We're going to start seeing more things. We're going to see the move of God that we have never seen before. We are going to go into victory. We are going to move forth. Those who try to hold us back will be held back. Those who try to put us into chains and shackles will be in the chains and shackles. There will be a reverse of what people has tried to do and prey upon us. It will go back onto them. You just got to keep rebuking those evil spirits that's trying to come upon you and send them all back to the pits of hell. Come on, somebody, let me know how I'm doing. I don't know where this is coming from. I was not planning on saying this. Folks, we are living in a time where we can't keep continuing. We got to learn to love and lean on each other. I told you in one of my videos, it's in my podcast, The Rich Will Fall. There's a couple of them. The rich men weep and howl. That's in James chapter 5. There's one video where it's called The Rich Will Fall. I did that one in March of 2022, right before I got sick. I was going to do a part 2, but I got sick and I could not do a part 2. And I've got it all written down for a part 2. But just know the rich is going to fall. Go check out Get Ready, the video called Get Ready. I mentioned about the banks. What if you cannot get your money out of the banks? And we are under attack. I mentioned that. But in Get Ready, I went a little bit deeper into it about not getting your money out of the banks and going into depression. We will see this again, but this time it might be a lot worse than what it was the first time. This time we may not be able to bounce back like it happened in the days of depression. People's like, well, even if it does, we can bounce back. No. We are in that time, and you best wake up. Earthquakes, volcanoes erupting, Matthew 24. Come on, somebody. Come on, come on, come on. We are in that time. We will not be able to bounce back. The wicked, when they fall, they are going to fall hard. And they're not going to be able to bounce back. I told you in my podcast when I first started podcasting. I told you guys then. One of my first few episodes is titled Living in the Days of the Rich Man and Lazarus. And I gave a stern warning. It wasn't me, but I did not know what I was saying. Hello, Deanna. Glad to have you on tonight. Glad you're here. Thank you for being here tonight, Deanna. There's a stern warning in Living in the Rich Days of Lazarus. I think there's 3 parts to it. And I told in there, which was not me at that time. I did not know God was using me during that time to speak like that. And I said about our government. And I gave a stern warning for our government to stop treating us the way they're treating us. Go and listen to it. And then we end up with COVID. I didn't know I was talking about COVID in 2020. And I was speaking too about our government, how they take our money and make us pay in. But when it's time for us to need that money, we can't get it. Only person that can give and take is God. It tells you, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh. Not the United States government giveth and taketh. The government gives us stuff, then they say they don't discriminate against us. But they can't discriminate against religion. But you let somebody who receives food stamps that believes in helping the hunger and buy somebody that's hungry some food, they'll go down and get arrested in no time. The person that was trying to serve God buying someone food that was hungry. Because the government says that food stamps is for that individual and that individual only. Yes, that may be true. But if they see somebody that's hungry and they want to buy them something to eat, let them buy them something to eat. Because you take that away from somebody, you will spend all eternity in the pits of hell. If your preacher's not preaching the truth, you best find you one, or you going to go down into the pits of hell and you will burn forever. This is not to scare you. People says, oh, that's a scare tactic. Believe what you want to believe, but when you're there, you will never come out again. You can't come out. Clean up your act. Stop discriminating. Say you don't discriminate and then turn around and do discriminate. I know you got to have rules and regulations because a lot of people will abuse that system. And it does get abused. But you need to know who is abusing and who is not abusing. That's your problem. You chose that job field. What if you do when you're in the food stamps office and you die and you're standing before the Lord and he said, I didn't want you in that job field. You made that choice. You chose for that job. Come on, those are things you need to think about. People are choosing to work in these careers and getting the education, and God didn't call you to be in that job field. Come on, somebody. You best wake up. And see, starting with verse 6 of Matthew 24, it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilence, and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake." It's coming down to that. We are getting into that position where we will be taken before our government and killed before our very government because of Christ's sake, because we're trying to do good deeds for Christ, and then we can be arrested for doing those good deeds. We're going to see a lot of innocent people on the news going to jail because they were serving Christ and trying to do the right thing and do what they believe is right, but the government says it's wrong. We're going to be shocked that the judges who sentence these people says they live by faith, that they are a good Christian person, and they are not, because they sentenced an evil person away. Remember what happened to Pharaoh and his army. It will be just like that. I saw a video last night where a minister, she was saying that, "Pharaoh, Pharaoh, let my people go." That's how it's titled. And I was watching it, and it's about how people today are controlling one another, telling people how to live their lives. Preachers. I used to be in a church that way. Me and Jay Wilbanks both sat in a church where the preacher was in control and told you how to live your life and what to do. And if you got out of order, you got rebuked openly in front of God and everybody in the church. You were called out. That is wrong. That is witchcraft. I learned that in the last few years. That's witchcraft. You do not manipulate. You do not control. And God will shut you down for that. That's for everybody that's controlling their congregation. We are in the time where we're seeing the earthquakes, the volcanoes, the pestilence. We're hearing of wars. And all this is going to get worse, and we can't change. We don't want to change. We think we're okay. We are not okay. People's lost the love for one another. Everybody's waxing cold. Go back and check out the Get Ready video. When you can't get your money out of the banks, what are you going to do? How are you going to survive? When you can't pay your water bill, how are you going to take your showers? When you can't pay the mortgage on your home because the banks have collapsed because you can't get your money to pay that. And if your direct deposit from your job and your money from your job goes direct deposit into your bank, and you can't, your job can't put your money you worked hard for all week long into your account because the banks are closed. Something collapsed where that money cannot go in. How can you get paid from your job? Some of you live paycheck to paycheck. And if that money's not there, how are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to pay your mortgage? How are you going to do all these things? Remember, A Great Downfall and a Rise is the title of another video. And I think we're seeing it here now. We're about to see the great downfall of many people. Many people. This is rich and famous people. This is people that's poor and don't have a name for themselves. We're going to see it all. We're fixing to see it all fall down before our eyes and crumble. And those who've been left out, the poor will rise. And once again, folks, this is not wine. This is that sparkling apple cider. This will be probably the last time I get that for the season. I buy it in the fall mainly. But folks, we've got to learn. We've got to start learning how to love one another and lean on each other and be there with each other. See, in my podcast back in November, I did a couple of episodes and I spoke about horrible things are coming. And I did 2 parts to that one. Really, I just thought I was only going to do 1 part, but I felt like I had to do another part too. And since then, look at all that has happened. Once again, since the horrible things are coming, look at the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. Look at the spy balloon. And I'm trying to think, was there something else that had happened since then? I can't remember. And then look at the news tonight where it's talking about Afghanistan having a 6.5 magnitude earthquake. Look what's going on in the state of California. Look at the floods, the snow. Look at the disasters here in America that is happening. Look at the storms that they're talking about that's going to come through. The storms have been bad. And people still are not wanting to see this is the hand of God. People can see that God is real, but still refuse to believe his very existence of it all. We need to wake up. And horrible things are coming. I knew bad stuff was about to hit, but I did not know when they were going to hit and how. But I even thought, I said in there too, I think I remember, I've got to go back and listen to that episode again. I believe I even said, get your children prepared too for the worst. Get them to know that God is real and quit fooling around with all that negativity stuff about death. Because if you can't get your child to know about death, something is wrong. I can't express that enough. People says that's too negative. There's nothing negative about it because an 8-year-old child can die and go to hell once they reach that age of accountability. Teenagers, 14 and 15-year-olds are dying every day and going to hell because they know right from wrong. They know not to kill. They know not to steal. 12-year-old kids way back in the day were running nations. They were kings and queens back in the time frames. Don't ever put an age limit on a young person because you're putting an age limit on their soul. They know not to go and rob a store. There are teenagers, there are children in a lot of these cities that will go and hold up a store just like an adult would. And they know what they're doing is wrong. The violence is getting worse. And I saw on the nightly news tonight, I saw on the nightly news tonight that in LA, in California, I forget how many teachers, bus drivers, and cafeteria workers of the schools walked out. They said they're getting paid less. They're not getting paid enough money. And they're tired and they're protesting in the streets. And did I not tell you in one of those videos that it's probably going to get to a point where you won't be able to send your child to school? And I think I've spoke about that in one of my podcasts. I told you before, God does not like all this education. Education teaches a lot of lies, especially when it comes to that science. Science is one of the biggest lies there is in this world. Because the way they teach in science about how the earth began and how life formed, that ever since I was a little child learning this and knowing what the Bible said in Genesis, how life began, that always aggravated me. I knew that was a lie. I knew that was not right, even as a child learning this in science class. That was wrong for the teachers to allow that. That was wrong for our parents and grandparents to even allow that stuff to be going on. That was allowed for every Christian across the world to allow this to go on and to be taught. But they was talk about how sad it is knowing that it was wrong, but still allowed it. That goes back onto them. Now look where we're at today. Everybody's so involved in science. And everything's backed up by science. We're sending people to the moon. We're sending spaceships and shuttles and things to the planet Mars. We're not supposed to be doing all of that stuff. We're going on the bottom of the ocean floor and finding things there. We're not supposed to be doing that either. It's written in the book of Exodus. Education teaches and gets people promoted for careers. And then once you get out of high school, then it's go to college, get a better education in college, get a good job. That's how you're to live your life. And people's forgetting all about God. But yeah, here's the thing. Preachers also tell you, oh, go to college. Christians are like, go to college, get you a good job, start you a family, and come to church. It's more than just going to church. Life is more about education. Life is more than just going and getting a career. Life is more than just education and careers. It's a way of distraction to keep you out of the Word of God and to keep your child from walking into the gifts and callings. We are supposed to be seeing a day of healings and miracles and signs and wonders. Do you not realize the young children will prophesy? They will dream dreams and see visions. And how, I'm trying to think how that scripture actually goes. The old men will dream dreams and the young men will see visions, something like that. But you get the point. We've got to get our children into gifts and callings. But if they're distracted by the education, going to school all day and learning how to read and write and do math and history and all that other nice stuff they got to learn. And then come home, they have homework. Worst time for God and prayer time. But there's sports involved. Oh, we got a game tonight. Come on and keep your grades up and go to school. All that's of Satan. And God is taking it all down. You got your children are idolizing these football players and basketball players. All this idolization of these movie stars and actors and singers. We've got to cut that out. But it's been allowed. When does all the idolization end? Even preachers are getting idolized and worshiped like a god because they can prophesy, because they lay hands and people being healed. Just because they can do those things don't mean they're right with God. Does not mean they're of the Lord. Does not mean they are in good standings, because it tells you anybody who prophesies and casts out demons in my name, I will tell them, depart from me, you worker of iniquity. This is not what I was coming on here to say. I ain't even thought about this today. None of this is what I was going to mention. I don't know where all that's just coming from. Well, I do know where it's coming from, but I'm just amazed myself. And some of those videos that I did back in the fall, like the ones your enemies will crumble like a cookie, some of them videos, I didn't realize how much I was talking to myself. And I was talking to myself about a lot of them and not knowing I was. Because you don't know all that I've been through since those videos. You don't know the heartache that I've been through. You don't know how many family members I've lost since Thanksgiving. And I was going to talk to you about some of that in January when I titled one of my videos called Been Dealing with a Lot. But I decided not to. And I'm still processing a lot of things right now. And I will be coming on talking more about some of that probably. But something, I heard a noise. Must have been the wind howling. But we need to learn, with everything that's going on now, that God is speaking to us all. And it's left up to us. What are we going to do for God? How are we going to change for God? How are we going to let our light shine brighter for Him? How are we going to let people see we are anointed of God and we're not falling under their authority? We're not falling under their control and manipulation. See, a lot of these people in the churches don't realize what's about to hit them. They think they're okay, and they're not. We're about to see church doors close, and I keep saying this a lot, but we're about to see it. Churches have become businesses. There's a lot of blaspheming and mockery in the churches. You don't need gyms and game rooms in the churches. Get that out of there. Saying you're trying to bring in the young people. If you can't love somebody and to get them in and show them the love of Christ, then you're not where you're supposed to be with God. You're not where you're supposed to be with Christ yourself. You're not walking. So you rather make a mockery and don't even realize you're making a mockery. You know, going back to living in the days of the rich man and Lazarus, look at everything that the rich has. And when I say rich, I don't mean people with millions of dollars or billions of dollars. You can have a nice home. Say your home is $100,000, maybe 200,000, and you're making payments on it. You have nice vehicles, almost brand new vehicles, but don't have to be brand spanking new. They can be about 5 or 6 years old, maybe 10 years old, but you're making payments on it, paying your homeowner's insurance, paying your car insurance. You're able to put gas in your vehicles to go back and forth to work. Then when the weekends come, you're out eating at restaurants, paying no telling how much for your meal or your friend's meal, or you and your family taking vacations, paying all of that out. Some of you might even have RVs, and you got your home. But yet you overlook the homeless and can't even offer a homeless person to stay in your home while you're gone. Or your RV sitting next to your house, and a homeless person is out on the streets in the cold, but you got an RV that they could stay in. This is where I believe why one reason the rich will not be able to access their money. And I don't think it's over with the banks. When I started hearing this, my mind went straight to the rich will fall. Rich men weep and howl. My mind went to those episodes. And as I started thinking about all of that, I was like, it's here, and it's going to get worse. The bankers that are working in the banks will probably even lose their jobs. The positions will be filled with new people. And now I'm not saying that they will, I'm just saying that they probably could lose their jobs. Because if they crash, a lot of people, the banks won't be able to stay open probably, unless the government comes in. I don't know. But where does the money go if the banks crashes and you want to take your money somewhere else? I heard some of the banks, people were going to check on their balance, and they had money in the account, but they was just checking up on it, but it was showing that they had a zero balance. You ever seen in these movies and TV shows where people are transferring money and they're criminals and they're stealing money away from the rich and they're transferring it to banks like overseas and stuff? That's how I look at this. It's going to end up happening. And they draw it down to somebody else's account down to zero. They wipe them out. They are wiped clean, and that money cannot be found. That's what I'm getting at. The money cannot be found or traced to where it went to. Can you take somebody who worked hard and saved up their money and say they saved up to $100,000, and that money wiped clean out of their account down to zero balance? People say that's impossible. And they talk good about the FDIC, how the FDIC's never lost 1 red cent. That's all good and stuff. But you wait till all this keeps going down. Let's see how God moves and how God works. And I saw somebody on YouTube that was talking about how the banks were collapsing. And they said, I did not know this until Dave was talking about this. They said when something like this happens, to get your money back, it can take years for the government to replace your money back into that bank. And from my understanding, they said it can take up to 99 years to have your money put back where it belongs. And just think, if you had $100,000 and it's going to take 99 years to get your money back, you're going to be dead and gone. You'll never see it again. Even if you had $1 million in the bank and it was wiped clean. Is it just me? But do y'all see this right here? Is that the glare from my light, or is that, because it looks like a wing right over in here, right there. Yeah, this kind of looks like a wing there. Do y'all see that? I know I usually have a glare on my wall from my overhead light, but that kind of looks like a wing, almost like an angel right there behind me. If y'all see it, let me know in the comments, please. Some people are about to see hard times, and some people are about to see good times. Things are about to start working out for them. We just need to, I guess, basically, I want to say like a roller coaster. You know, when you get in a roller coaster, they put these straps on you or you're in these handlebars, just strap in. I guess basically put your seatbelt on and watch the ride go up and down. And we're probably going to hear people screaming, just like being on roller coasters where they're screaming. But except in this case, they're not going to be screaming because of fun times. They're going to be screaming because they lost it all. Good. I'm glad you see it. Does it? So, folks, I hope that things for you all will work out. I truly do. Those of you who have suffered so long, and seems like no matter what you do, and I was talking to somebody else about this. It seems like you go through so much in your life, and it seems like all you get is bad news after bad news. And you try to encourage yourself, and you get prayed up and encouraged. And then all of a sudden, you get slapped in the face and just brought down. It's like you get up on this mountain and you're knocked right off in that valley. As soon as you get up on that mountain, you just get knocked straight down. And then you got to go back and climb again to get back up to that top. And then the same thing happens. And you might get to stand up on that mountain for a day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week, and then all of a sudden, boom, a slap in the face. And it seems like you pray, and you can pray and fast, and you keep thinking this is going to work out. Having positive thinking, it's going to work out, it's going to work out, it's going to work out. This is going to work in my favor. I'm going to go doctor, get good news, or I'm going to go to my job, and they're going to say I get to keep my job. I've got faith in God. And you get to your job, and they terminate you in layoffs. Or you go to the doctor and they give you bad news instead of good news that you were looking for and been praying about, and you just felt that you was going to get good news. And you felt you was going to keep your job. And then it makes you feel deep down inside that you lied to yourself and you deceived yourself. I know, I've been there myself several times. Happens to me a lot. And it's like, what's going on? And it seems like it doesn't matter how much you pray and fast. And I believe we're in that time now, all of our prayer and fasting is going to be a blessing to us. And those who were against us are going to go through what we went through. And remember, I told you in the great downfall and the rise that doctors and lawyers are going to fall. Keep expecting that, because it's here. We're going to see doctors and lawyers on TV, probably in the major news network that you haven't never seen before. And you're going to be shocked and surprised why. Well, you're going to be shocked and surprised why they're even on the news and how they got in all this trouble that they're in and why they failed. I wouldn't be surprised that we'll start seeing a lot of doctors' offices closing down. I would not be surprised we see some hospitals shutting down because they're short of doctors. Not nurses, but doctors. Because the doctors have to be there to do the surgeries. The doctors have to be there to help write a lot of the medications out. And I wouldn't be surprised we start seeing that come. Some hospitals may start shutting down because they can't operate financially anymore. And that's going to go part along with the great downfall and the rise. So check a lot of these videos out. Check out my podcast where I mentioned just a while ago in the episode, Horrible Things Are Coming. And on the podcast platform, I've been speaking on the book of Revelation. And guys, go check that out too. Listen to those episodes. And I believe it's Revelations chapter 5, towards the end, God spoke through me that night. And there's a stern warning to America. And America is not prepared for what's to come. Check that out. Because It's an important message in that one. And I believe the things that it was warning us about is here. And I'm trying to find some of my podcast episodes here on Spotify now. And I'm using this. I was hoping I could just go right to it because I can on my phone, but I've never used my laptop/tablet here. I don't think it's going to let me pull it up. Well, I don't think it's going to let me pull up here. I have to figure that out. But anyways, there's a lot of episodes on my podcast platform. And you guys just have to go through and check a lot of them out. And there's a lot of good meanings in them too. A lot of good meaning. That wind is a howling. It's picking up. Is it supposed to be stormy here tonight? But when I asked that question, y'all, Jay Wilbanks lives 3 miles down the road from me, so I was talking to him on that one. I guess that's, you know, sometimes we don't realize how much God uses us. And when we speak, we don't realize what we're saying. And God used me to speak in those videos, whether I realized or not. And if you ever doubt and question your faith in God, sometimes if you ever got yourself recorded and talking, you'll see how much God used you and how favored you are of God. But I believe, like I just said a while ago, it's going to be like a roller coaster, and just buckle up and sit there for the ride and see what happens. Because a roller coaster goes down and then it goes up. So the great downfall for a lot of people, and then the rise for a lot. So, I just said a while ago that people on the roller coaster, they weren't going to be shouting because it was a fun ride. But I guess I could go back and say it like this. For many on the roller coaster, it's not going to be fun. Let me put it that way. For many on that roller coaster, it will not be fun. It's going to be them screaming because of bad things. But for many others on the roller coaster, when they start going up, they're going to be screaming because it's going to be a fun ride for them. Because those that's going down are going to be screaming because they're falling. And they're falling hard. And they know God has brought them down. But others that's coming up the roller coaster are going to be screaming because they're going to know the joy of the Lord and that God, that Jesus Christ has finally came through for them. And they're going to be screaming and shouting, and it's going to be a fun ride for them all the way through. So look at it that way. But I guess this is all I've got tonight. I believe I'm out of words to say. I hope you all enjoyed this, because I wasn't expecting, like I said, I was not expecting to say any of this. Before I came in here, I said a quick prayer, asked God to put the words in my mouth that He wanted said. So apparently He did, because I have not, everything I said today, I have not thought about it. All I was going to focus on was more of my previous videos and my podcast episodes and what was happening now. And that was the main point. And then all this other stuff just started coming and just flowing right on out of me. But guys, you take care of yourselves. Be safe during all these storms. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share with your family and friends. Thank you guys so much.